First contact and invasion. They came on an ordinary Tuesday in April. The skies over every major city on Earth suddenly darkened as massive ships materialized in low orbit. They were vast geometric constructions, obsidian pyramids inverted against the blue, their surfaces reflecting nothing, absorbing everything. For 9 hours, they simply hovered, silent sentinels that sent global markets into freefall and governments into panic rooms. Dr. Maya Collins stood on the roof of the MIT physics building, telescope abandoned at her side as she stared upward with naked eyes. "They're not hiding," she whispered to her colleague. "They want us to see them." When they finally transmitted their message, it came simultaneously through every electronic device on the planet. The Krelnorian High Command appeared as tall, angular beings with translucent gray skin that revealed pulsing blue circulatory systems beneath. Their eyes, 3 of them arranged in a triangle, blinked in unsettling sequence. "Your planet contains resources vital to our survival," the lead alien announced in flawless English. "We have studied your species for centuries. You are fractured, primitive, and unsuited for galactic citizenship. Surrender your world within 1 planetary rotation, and we will relocate your population to designated habitation zones. Resistance will result in your extinction." The United Nations Security Council convened an emergency session. Representatives from 193 nations argued over the right approach: immediate surrender to save lives, or defiance despite overwhelming technological disadvantage. "They're bluffing," General Weizong of China insisted. "No species travels across stars just to negotiate." He was right. Before the UN could even draft a response, the Krelnorians struck. The pyramids released thousands of smaller craft that descended upon major cities. They didn't use conventional weapons. There were no explosions, no fire. Instead, they deployed gravitational disruptors that altered the fundamental forces holding matter together. Buildings didn't burn. They liquefied. Streets didn't explode. They folded in upon themselves like paper. Within hours, London, New York, Beijing, Moscow, Tokyo, all reduced to molecular sludge. 2 billion lives erased in an afternoon. Commander Elena Reyes had been on a deep-sea research mission when the attacks began. The U.S. Poseidon, an advanced submarine stationed in the Marianas Trench, emerged to find a world transformed. The crew's first indication came when all communications from the surface went silent, followed by the impossibility of establishing satellite uplinks. "Take us up to periscope depth," Reyes ordered, her voice steady despite the dread mounting in her chest. What they saw through the scope confirmed her worst fears. San Diego Naval Base, their home port, was gone. Where the city had stood was now a vast, still settling pit of matter that had once been buildings, streets, and people. "Orders, Commander," her XO asked, his face ashen. Reyes studied the screens showing the massive ships hanging in the skies above what remained of the west coast. "We go dark, full silent running. Head for the Bay of Bengal underground facility." The Poseidon slipped back beneath the waves, one of the few military assets on Earth that remained completely intact. The submarine's isolation had been its salvation. 3 weeks later, in a hardened bunker beneath the Himalayan mountains, Reyes stood before the remnants of Earth's military leadership. Generals without armies, admirals without fleets. "The Krelnorians are methodical," she explained, pointing to a holographic map showing the aliens' systematic destruction of human infrastructure. "They're working outward from major population centers, but they're avoiding certain areas." An Air Force colonel leaned forward. "What pattern are you seeing?" "They're steering clear of Earth's magnetic anomalies. The South Atlantic anomaly, the North Pole, certain mountain ranges with high iron content. When I cross-reference their attack patterns with Earth's magnetic field map, the correlation is undeniable." Dr. Sanjay Mehta, formerly of India's Space Research Organization, nodded vigorously. "I've been studying their technology from satellite data collected before our systems went dark. Their ships appear to use a form of magnetic resonance for propulsion and possibly structural integrity. Earth's natural magnetic variations might interfere with their systems. "So we have a potential weakness," said General Okonkwo of Nigeria. "Can we weaponize it?" Reyes exchanged glances with Dr. Mehta. "We're already working on it. We call it Project Tempest." The Krelnorian sub-commander Zix Turl stood in the observation chamber of the command pyramid, watching Earth's surface transform beneath their gravitational manipulators. The planet's resources were even richer than their scans had indicated: rare minerals, water, and most importantly, the unique biological compounds found only on worlds with advanced carbon-based life. "The human resistance is stronger than anticipated," noted his second, Krell Vanar. "They've established underground networks. Some primitive nuclear weapons have been deployed against our scout ships." "Irrelevant," Zix Turl dismissed with a wave of his elongated fingers. "Their strongest weapons barely register on our shields. Their understanding of physics is quaint. They still believe in linear time." "Nevertheless," Krell Vanar continued, "there have been unusual readings from some of their remaining research facilities. Energy signatures we cannot identify." Zix Turl turned his three eyes toward his subordinate. "You sound concerned, Second. Perhaps you've spent too much time studying these creatures. Remember, we've conquered 17 worlds more advanced than this one. The humans are clever animals, nothing more." "Of course, Sub-Commander. However, the High Command advises caution. This is the first planet we've encountered with such an unusually active magnetic core. Have the Science Division increase scanning of their remaining military installations," Zix Turl ordered, "and accelerate the harvest timeline. I want this world processed within 30 rotations." In an abandoned mine shaft deep beneath the Australian outback, Dr. Kato Chen worked feverishly alongside a team of physicists and engineers. The facility had once been a neutrino detection laboratory, its isolation and natural shielding now serving a more urgent purpose. "The magnets are aligned," called out Dr. Fatima Al-Zarani, making final adjustments to a massive ring of superconducting material. "Cooling systems at optimal range." Chen nodded, his eyes never leaving the complex equations displayed across multiple screens. For 6 days straight, he had barely slept, subsisting on caffeine and the raw determination that came from knowing billions were already dead. "The Krelnorians use magnetic fields not just for propulsion," he explained to Commander Reyes, who had arrived via a network of underground tunnels. "They use them to maintain the exotic matter that powers their weapons. Their entire technology is built around manipulating magnetic resonance at a quantum level." "And you think you can disrupt it?" Reyes asked. Chen gestured to the prototype device they'd constructed, a patchwork of Earth's most advanced technology, combined with insights gained from studying debris from damaged alien craft. "We've created what amounts to a magnetic EMP. When activated, it will generate a cascading failure in any system that relies on magnetic quantum resonance. The effect should propagate through their fleet due to their linked command structures." "Should?" Reyes raised an eyebrow. "Nothing like this has ever been attempted," Chen admitted. "And we only get one shot. The power requirements will burn out every electrical grid still functioning on the planet." Reyes studied the tired faces of the scientists around her. These men and women represented humanity's last, best hope. "How long until it's ready?" 2 days for the prototype. 2 weeks to build and position the global network. "The Krelnorians are stepping up their attacks," Reyes warned. "Intelligence suggests they're preparing for some kind of final assault. We might not have 2 weeks." Chen's expression hardened. "Then we'll have to work faster." Outside, beyond the protective rock of the facility, another city ceased to exist as the alien ships continued their methodical harvest of Earth. The resistance grew despite, or perhaps because of, the escalating destruction. Survivors banded together, communicating via old radio technology and courier networks. The Krelnorians had expected humanity to fracture under pressure, but the opposite occurred. Former enemies became allies overnight, united by a common threat. In secret locations across what remained of human territory, components for Project Tempest were being assembled and transported. Each installation contained a piece of the magnetic disruption network designed to create a synchronized pulse that would envelop the planet. Commander Reyes personally oversaw the critical Western Pacific node, established in an underwater facility off the Philippine coast. Her submarine, the Poseidon, had become a vital link in coordinating the global resistance. "We've confirmed the Krelmorian mothership is entering Earth orbit," reported her communications officer. It's massive, Commander. Preliminary estimates put it at over 30 kilometers in diameter. Reyes studied the grainy footage captured by one of their few remaining orbital cameras. The mothership dwarfed the already enormous pyramid vessels. Its arrival could mean only one thing: the Krelnorians were preparing for the final phase of their operation. "Send word to all Tempest nodes," she ordered. "Accelerate the timeline. We activate in 36 hours. As the message went out, Reyes gazed at a faded photograph she kept in her pocket. Her family, smiling on a beach in Puerto Rico, all gone now. She allowed herself 5 seconds of grief before returning the photo to her pocket. "Prep the Poseidon for deep deployment," she told her XO. "When Tempest activates, we need to be at crush depth to shield our systems." The plan was desperate, born of necessity and the human spirit's refusal to concede extinction. In labs and bunkers across the planet, the final preparations for humanity's counterattack were underway, even as the shadow of the Krelnorian mothership blotted out the stars above. Humanity's counterattack. The Krelnorian mothership cast a shadow across 3 continents as it positioned itself in low Earth orbit. From its cavernous launch bays emerged thousands of harvester vessels, sleek, predatory craft designed to strip a planet's resources with surgical precision. High Commander Ezra Koloth stood at the center of the mothership's control nexus, his elongated form towering over the busy technicians. After 30 stellar cycles overseeing planetary conquests, he had developed an eye for patterns. Something about this world's resistance troubled him. The humans continue to move equipment and personnel between these 12 regions, his tactical officer reported, highlighting blinking points on a global projection. "We've destroyed their primary military installations, yet they appear to be constructing something new." "Analysis," Ezra Koloth demanded. "Unclear, High Commander. Their technology is primitive, but they're utilizing methods that partially obscure our sensors. The magnetic properties of this planet create difficulties." Ezra Koloth's central eye narrowed. "Sub-Commander Zix Turl assured me this world would be subdued by now. Where is he?" "Overseeing the final phase of city reduction in the region they call Europe, High Commander. Recall him, and dispatch destroyers to each of these human activity points. Whatever they're building, I want it eliminated." In the Australian facility, alarm sirens blared as sensors detected incoming Krelmorian vessels. "They found us," Dr. Chen announced grimly. "All stations, initiate Protocol Omega." Throughout the sprawling underground complex, scientists and engineers rushed to secure data, dismantle critical components, and prepare for emergency relocation. The Tempest prototype, a gleaming array of intersecting rings surrounding a pulsing blue core, was carefully disconnected from its power source. "Transport team, you have 8 minutes to clear the facility," Chen's voice echoed through the intercom. "Evacuation routes Delta and Echo are still viable." Commander Reyes, coordinating remotely from the Poseidon, received the alert with stone-faced calm. "How much of the primary facility can you save?" "The prototype is intact and mobile," Chen replied, his voice steady, despite the chaos behind him. "We're downloading the final configuration data now. But, Commander, the Krelnorians are targeting all our nodes simultaneously. They've found the pattern." Reyes processed this information quickly. The aliens had identified their operation far sooner than expected. "Execute dispersal protocol immediately. All nodes shift to secondary locations." As Reyes issued commands, the deck beneath her feet trembled. Above, near the surface, Depth charges released by Krellnorian patrol craft exploded, searching for the submarine's signature. "They're hunting us," her XO noted unnecessarily. "Dive deeper," Rise ordered. "Let's use the Marianas Trench topology to our advantage." The Poseidon slipped into the darkness of the ocean's greatest depths, where the immense pressure might just provide enough cover from alien sensors designed to scan the upper atmospheres of conquered worlds. Dr. Fatima Al-Zahrani had barely escaped the Australian facility when Krellnorian gravitational weapons liquefied the mountain above it. Her transport, a modified mining vehicle, tunneled through pre-established escape routes as the Earth literally melted around them. "Status of the prototype," she shouted over the vehicle's straining engines. The technician beside her checked the reinforced container strapped to the floor. "Containment field stable. Core temperature nominal. We've got the heart of Tempest." Al-Zahrani nodded grimly. "Get me a secure channel to secondary site Bravo." The radio crackled with static before a voice emerged. Dr. Chen, who had evacuated via a different route. "Fatima, tell me you have it. Intact and stable." But Kato, they knew exactly where to hit us. How did they find all our facilities at once? There was a pause before Chen responded. "They're tracking our magnetic signatures. The Tempest nodes generate distinctive field patterns during testing. We were too eager to confirm the network synchronization." The convoy continued its desperate journey through the subterranean passage, eventually emerging inside an abandoned mining complex 300 kilometers from the original site. As Al-Zahrani stepped from the vehicle, exhausted but determined, she was greeted by a surprising sight. The cavern was filled with people, civilians, mostly, working with military precision to establish equipment. At the center stood a familiar figure, Dr. Maya Collins from MIT, the astronomer who had first observed the Krellnorian arrival. "Welcome to humanity's last stand," Collins greeted her with a tired smile. "We've been expecting you." Across what remained of human territory, a desperate race unfolded. The Krellnorians systematically destroyed identified Tempest nodes, while resistance teams scrambled to establish new ones. It was asymmetric warfare on a planetary scale, the aliens with overwhelming force, the humans with nothing but ingenuity and determination. In Nepal, villagers carried Tempest components up treacherous mountain paths too narrow for vehicles. In the Amazon, indigenous guides led scientists through rainforest canopies that partially masked their electromagnetic signatures. Off the coast of Antarctica, research submersibles repurposed petroleum drilling equipment to install nodes deep in the ocean floor. Humanity adapted. Where high technology failed, they employed methods their ancestors would recognize: signal fires, coded messages carried by runners, weapons as old as civilization itself deployed against scouting parties of the galaxy's most advanced species. The Krellnorians, for all their technological superiority, found themselves increasingly frustrated. Their protocols for planetary conquest had never encountered such persistent, innovative resistance. In the mothership's command nexus, High Commander Ezra Koloth stared in disbelief at the casualty reports. 3 destroyer-class vessels lost to primitive nuclear weapons hidden in civilian structures. A scout squadron ambushed by projectile weapons in a dense forest. Most disturbing of all, 2 harvester ships had experienced complete systems failure while passing over seemingly empty ocean. "Their resistance makes no logical sense," he hissed. "They cannot win. They must know this." Sub-Commander Zix Turl, recently recalled from the European theater, stood rigidly at attention. "The humans appear to value the concept of defiance over survival, High Commander. Their historical records show numerous instances of choosing certain death over submission. An evolutionary defect," Ezra Koloth dismissed. "No species can advance with such irrationality." Nevertheless, Zix Turl continued carefully. "There are concerning patterns in their recent activities. They appear to be constructing a planetary-scale energy network of some kind, despite our best efforts to disrupt it." The High Commander's three eyes focused with predatory intensity. You believe this primitive species has developed something that could threaten us. I believe, Zix Turl chose his words cautiously, that we have underestimated their resourcefulness. The unusual magnetic properties of this planet may have allowed them insights into our technology that they should not possess. After a moment of contemplation, Ezra Kaloth reached a decision. Accelerate the final phase. Begin full gravitational collapse of the planetary crust. I want this world reduced to its component elements within one rotation. But High Commander, the resource extraction will proceed more efficiently once the biosphere and its infestation are eliminated. Execute the order, Sub-Commander. On the Poseidon, now hidden within an undersea cave system, Commander Reyes received the news with grim acceptance. They're beginning planetary collapse, she informed the assembled team. Gravitational disruptors are being positioned at strategic points along the tectonic plates. Once activated, they'll literally tear the Earth apart. Timeline. Ask her operations officer. Intelligence suggests less than 18 hours. The Tempest network. Dr. Chen, connected via secure link from the secondary Australian site, appeared on screen. We've established 63% of required nodes. Minimum operational threshold is 80%. We don't have time to reach 80%, Rice stated flatly. Dr. Chen, can you compensate with increased power to existing nodes? The physicist was silent for a long moment, calculations clearly running behind his eyes. Possibly, but the additional strain would almost certainly destroy the nodes after activation. We get one pulse. No sustained effect. One pulse is all we need if it works, Rice countered. How long to implement? 12 hours to reconfigure and synchronize the network. Then we pray it's enough. Rice surveyed the tired faces of her crew, all that remained of the U.S. Poseidon's once full complement. Notify all Tempest sites. We're initiating in 12 hours. This is humanity's final stand. As the Krelnorian mothership positioned itself directly over the Atlantic Ocean, the optimal point for managing planetary collapse, Dr. Maya Collins made a discovery that changed everything. The mothership's central core, she explained to the assembled team leaders via secure transmission, it's not just a power source. It's a quantum magnetic governor. It maintains field stability across their entire fleet. Meaning? Rice prompted. Meaning if we target the Tempest pulse, specifically at the mothership's frequency, we could trigger a cascade effect far more powerful than we originally projected. The entire Krelnorian fleet would experience simultaneous field collapse. Dr. Chen's voice crackled through the communication system. That's theoretically sound, but we'd need precise configurations of the mothership's resonant frequency. Which we don't have, Al-Zaraini pointed out. Collins smiled for the first time in weeks. Actually, we do. Remember my observatory at MIT? Before the invasion, I collected detailed spectrographic data on all the ships. Initially, I thought the unusual readings were instrumental errors. Now I understand. They were quantum magnetic signatures. For the first time since the Krelnorians arrived, a flicker of genuine hope spread through the human resistance. The reconfiguration proceeded with desperate speed. As Krelnorian gravity weapons began their initial interference with Earth's tectonic stability, causing earthquakes and volcanic eruptions across the Pacific Ring of Fire, the Tempest network underwent its final adjustments. Each node, whether hidden in mountain caves, submerged in ocean trenches, or concealed in the rubble of fallen cities, was carefully tuned to the mothership's specific frequency. The power requirements were enormous, necessitating the sacrifice of every remaining functional power grid on the planet. Final synchronization complete, reported Dr. Chen from the Australian Command Center. All nodes reporting ready status. Around the world, the last of humanity held its collective breath. Some prayed to gods they hoped still listened. Others simply waited, eyes turned skyward to the terrible ships that had brought their civilization to its knees. Commander Reyes, standing in the Poseidon's control room, gave the order that would determine the fate of their species. Initiate Project Tempest. Aboard the Krelmorian mothership, the first indication of trouble came as a subtle vibration, barely perceptible, but completely unexpected. Technicians exchanged confused glances as instrument readings fluctuated without explanation. High Commander Ezra Koloth noticed the disturbance immediately. Report. Unknown energy surge detected. Planetary origin, the sensor operator announced. Confusion evident in their voice. Magnetic field aberrations across all spectrums. Source. The High Commander demanded. Multiple sources, hundreds, spread across the planet's surface and subsurface. They appear to be. The technician never finished the sentence. A visible wave of blue-white energy surged upward from Earth's surface, not from one location, but from everywhere simultaneously. It engulfed the mothership in seconds, penetrating shields designed to withstand the fury of stars. Ezra Koloth felt it first as a strange lightness in his body, then as molecular agony. The mothership's artificial gravity wavered. Structural integrity alarms blared throughout the massive vessel. On the command deck, equipment began to disintegrate, not explode, not melt, but simply come apart at the subatomic level. Impossible, the High Commander whispered as he watched his own hands dissolve into sparkling dust. They are primitives. The pulse propagated through the mothership's core, triggering the quantum cascade effect precisely as Dr. Collins had predicted. From the massive mothership, the wave of disruption spread to every Krelmorian vessel in Earth orbit through their linked magnetic fields. One by one, the invincible pyramids that had terrorized Earth for months simply disintegrated. Their exotic matter, held stable by precisely calibrated magnetic fields, returned to its natural state, microscopic particles scattered by solar winds. From the Poseidon's viewports, the crew watched in awe as the ocean above them glowed with reflected light. The pulse had triggered aurora-like effects across Earth's magnetic field, painting the skies in brilliant colors even as it reduced the alien fleet to cosmic dust. Status report. Rise requested, her voice steady despite the emotion threatening to overwhelm her. Tempest network offline, came the response. All nodes burned out, as expected. But Mom, there's no sign of the Krelmorian fleet. Not destroyed. Gone. A cheer erupted throughout the submarine, quickly spreading to every resistance outpost as confirmation came in. The impossible had happened. Humanity had survived. 6 months later, Commander Elena Reyes stood at the edge of what had once been San Francisco Bay, now dramatically reshaped by the Krelmorian gravity weapons. The rebuilding had begun, though the Earth would forever bear the scars of the invasion. Beside her stood Dr. Kaido Chen and Dr. Maya Collins, both now leading Earth's new planetary defense initiative. The Tempest theory has applications beyond weapons, Chen explained, gesturing to the new research facility taking shape on the hillside. We're developing shields based on the same principles, magnetic field protection for our cities, our ships. Ships? Rise questioned. Collins smiled. We'd recovered enough alien technology to begin understanding interstellar travel. The Krelmorians weren't the only species out there, Commander. We need to be ready, both to defend ourselves and to reach out. You think there are friendlier aliens than the ones who just tried to dismantle our planet? Rise asked skeptically. I think, Collins replied, that any spacefaring civilization will think twice about attacking Earth now. The species that developed Tempest, the humans who turned a Krelmorian fleet to dust. As the sun set over the altered landscape, Rise considered the future. Humanity had nearly been extinguished, but had emerged stronger, more united, and with a new understanding of both their vulnerability and their potential in the cosmos. We'll be ready, she said finally. Whatever comes next, we'll be ready. Above them, in the darkening sky, the first stars began to appear, no longer just distant lights, but destinations. And somewhere out there, word was spreading of a small blue planet whose inhabitants had done the impossible. A primitive species, a fractured civilization, a world that had turned the invincible Krelnorian armada to dust.